When is it time to leave your job? Well, joining us now with the answer and more is executive coach Julie Couret. Julie, welcome.
Great to see
welcome
you.
Back. So tell us, I mean, employers value long-term commitment, this kind of thing, so why leave your job in the first place?
So the idea of actually voluntarily leaving scares people because they already have a position, they feel secure, they're in their comfort zone, and employers are probably thinking, Julie, do not have this conversation with folks. We want everyone to stay. But we cannot get complacent or live in our comfort zone for the wrong reasons. It's one thing to be comfortable, it's a whole other thing to be sticking around because it's easy for me.
Sure. So when we talk about climbing up the career ladder, it may not necessarily be a good idea to stay in your current position.
This is something that I learned personally, and I see this evident with friends continually over time, that getting promoted within your organization can sometimes be difficult because it might be a very small organization where somebody's going to have to retire for you to ever get that position, or a really, really large one where there's so much competition and you also are seen as that position. You know, if you can leave your job for a promotion, even if it's not necessarily in the same industry or similar skill sets, you are now elevating yourself into this new position and that new salary range, and that's now the level you play at. So if you were to leave your job for a new position somewhere else, now when you go from that point on, you're up here, and then you can shorten that gap on the time it would take to reach that if you would have stayed in your original job the whole time.
Right, so what would you recommend? Do you tell your boss you're leaving, or do you kind of keep that on the DL?
Right, that really depends on the boss. Honestly, you've got to really trust your gut on this one. Let's be honest, if you don't trust your boss, then maybe you need to just do a 3-week notice or a month-long notice. For me personally, in my old position, I had a great relationship with my leader, and I was talking about leaving to start a family and get off the road traveling. So I was very upfront and said, listen, I want to get pregnant, and this is something I need to have a conversation with you about. I didn't want to leave them in a lurch. But some folks, if they talk to me about it, I'll say, maybe you should keep this to yourself, because this particular leader might say, you know what, actually, thank you for filling me in. Today's your last day. And they can do that. They have the right to do that. So you need to seek counsel with somebody you trust and know, and then consider talking to your boss or just putting your notice in.
Sure. Okay. And then you mentioned, complacency and being too comfortable. Can you kind of delve into that for us a little bit more?
So what happens is folks have been in their job and they know it like the back of their hand, and it's busy. But if you find yourself to the point where you are showing up, going through the motions, you deserve to be happy. You deserve to feel good. And some folks stay put only because it's what they think they know, and they don't give themselves a chance. And I really invite people to, whatever position you're in, to feel good about it. And even if maybe you don't want to leave your job, but ask for new responsibilities, or join a committee, or volunteer to do a new project. But if you find yourself that I'm just showing up, there's somebody else out there that would love to have that position and give it their all and build the resume with it, where you could get re-energized somewhere else. But people, they are afraid of the unknown. Have you ever heard of that phrase, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't?
Sure.
I've literally had clients say that to me about positions and the fear of leaving. And I said, we can't be trapped by that. Well, at least I'm comfortable with what I know. Or they don't want to do a 30-minute commute. It's all of these unknown fears, but I really encourage folks that it's better to make an informed move than to stay behind just because, well, I'm already here.
Sure. So change can be a good thing.
Especially if you want to be happy in your life all the time, and if you are still early on in your career. If you are in the same organization and you're young in your life, you have so much ahead. We don't realize what we don't know when we stay in the same place for so long. You almost don't even know what you don't know. It's called unconscious incompetence.
Sure. Okay, so what if you don't get along with your boss? What's your recommendation there?
Okay, I get this question a ton. Your boss isn't going to change. And you cannot change your boss. I've got videos for days, girl, on how to have difficult conversations and give feedback. And certainly I invite folks to do that. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if you don't like the leader you have two choices. Either accept this is how it is, and this is how my organization's run, this is the culture here, and wait for them to retire, or that's a good enough reason to look for another job.
Sure.
Because they're not going to just magically be what you want them to be, even if they should be. Just because you want them that way doesn't mean it's going to happen.
All right, any other tips for us today?
I really recommend using a career counselor or a career coach. There are people like myself, but that operate in the world of career management and career goals. They will rewrite your resume, they'll write a resume, they will help you, and you don't have to do it alone. They can bounce ideas off you. There's lots of resources out there.
Perfect. All right, thank you, Julie. So to learn more, you can head to 7602coach.com, and there's much more to come on Great Day after the break, so stick with us.